back to the mosques of Nyarlathotep. Our adventurers are off to see the mysterious Madame Lin. I'm sure it's all going to go absolutely fine. There won't be any problems. She'll tell us everything we need to know, and we'll leave happy. Or maybe not. Let's find out. Let's hand it over to our Keeper of Arcane Lore, Darren.
You are shown through a short, cool corridor and into a parlour that feels like stepping into another world. One carefully arranged to soothe, impress, and disarm all at once. The first thing you notice is the softness of the light. Silk-shaded lanterns cast a warm amber glow that smooths every edge in the room. Your feet sink slightly into a thick, hand-woven rug, its pattern a subtle interplay of cloud motifs and curling dragons. The furniture is arranged with deliberate symmetry. Rosewood chairs with embroidered cushions, a low table polished to a mirrored sheen, and a well-padded chaise longue placed before lacquered screens, painted with cranes lifting into mist. You cannot see behind the screens, but immediately get the impression of slight movements from beyond them, where more of Madame Lin's guards undoubtedly lurk. Having a minute or so to glance around, you quickly realise that nothing in here is gaudy or ostentatious, and in fact, many of the statues, ornaments, and other curiosities placed around the room are obviously antique and very rare. Many are of an occult nature, and some bear more than a passing resemblance to the type of blasphemous alien items that you have become all too familiar with over the past few months. One in particular draws your gaze as you await your host. A 2-foot-high statue carved from a dense, creamy, ornate stone, in the shape of an obese woman with tentacles in place of arms and nose, and 5 fanged mouths in its corpulent face and neck. It wears a pair of wicked-looking sickles at the waist of its voluminous tunic. The statue is unnervingly lifelike and abhorrent to behold. Can you make a sanity roll, please, everybody?
My God.
I've just passed.
No, I failed.
Oh, wow.
With 99.
Yeah.
I think Jacob loses sanity at the shock of passing a sanity roll.
Albert has passed.
Okay.
Ow.
You lose 3 san. Not only do you recognise, the thought of the bloated woman comes into your mind, and you realise that you're probably looking at a statue of that very entity, but also your hangover, the fear that you have of statues from your previous experiences in Cairo, also accentuates the issue. Who else failed? Anybody else?
No, I'm all good.
No, everybody else passed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm turning around. I'm leaving. I'll wait outside. Sorry, I can't be in here.
You see, you turn to go outside, and there's a guard standing in the doorway. One of the ones that kind of showed you in.
I'll say, would you let me out, please? I'm not feeling well, and I wouldn't want to be ill in the presence of your mistress.
He just nods and kind of gestures for you to step outside into the courtyard.
Okay, I'll wait out there.
Okay, there's another guard outside as well in the courtyard, so you find yourself standing outside by an ornate stone fountain in the courtyard.
I'll sit on the edge of that and light up a cigarette and stare at the sky and have a slow smoke and have a fiddle with my cat badge in my pocket. Calm myself down.
You feel calmer after a wee while being outside under well, not the gaze, but there are guards out there who kind of watch you. Okay, the rest of you obviously you have maybe a minute or so more to look around. Jacob, in particular, you are very well impressed and surprised at the quality of the antiques and art objects that Madame Lin has on display here. There must be thousands and thousands of pounds worth of dollars worth of items in here. And again, as I reiterate that some of them, well, in fact, a vast majority of them are of kind of occult significance or nature. And then Madame Lin enters. She moves with unhurried grace of someone who has never needed to rush for anything. Her dark hair is pinned with jade. Her silk gown understated but exquisite. When she smiles, it is warm, genuine even. Her eyes assess you with the precision of a jeweller examining a flawed gem. She gestures for you to sit. As you take your seat, she settles herself onto the chaise longue, the silk cushions sighing softly beneath her. She slips a cigarette into a long silver holder. A single practiced motion brings flame to the tobacco. She inhales and then exhales a perfect ring of smoke that drifts upward like a ghostly halo. A soft chime rings out as she taps a small bronze bell. Almost immediately, 2 young men enter, immaculately dressed, strikingly handsome, their movements synchronized with an elegance that feels rehearsed. Each carries a teapot and a tea service, and they begin to pour for you and your host with quiet precision. Then another young woman enters and settles gracefully at Madame Lin's feet. Without a word, she lifts a Chinese lute into her lap. Her fingers brush the strings and a soft lilting melody unfurls into the room. "It is always a pleasure to receive visitors from so far abroad," Madame Lin says.
We're very grateful that you allowed us an audience, Madame Lin. Thank you.
Smiles. "I imagine the journey from America was long. I do hope your passage was comfortable."
It was, thank you. It was time to reflect and rest. I think we had a rather pleasant voyage, thank you.
I'm glad to hear that. Tell me, how are you finding our city?
Interesting. I suspect you're only too aware of our movements so far. We've found it a stimulating place, but a dangerous place as well.
Shanghai can be overwhelming to newcomers. So many scents, so many voices, so much life pressed into narrow streets. But as well as danger, there is beauty here too, if one knows where to look.
Well, I'm afraid we haven't had much time for that so far, but perhaps you could help us look in the right places.
She frowns slightly when you say that. She gestures lightly toward the tea being poured. Please drink. This blend comes from a small garden in Fujian. Very old, very refined, a favourite of mine.
Take a sip.
And of course, I'm always delighted to meet those with an appreciation for art and antiquities. Shanghai is a crossroads of treasures, some genuine, some less so. One must have a discerning eye.
Well, I can see, Madame Lin, you certainly do have a discerning eye. Some of the pieces in your collection here are exquisite.
Thank you. I have had many years to collect them. But enough of my rambling, Mr. Lockhart. I would very much like to hear what brings you and your friends to my humble home. Your business card suggests you deal in rare pieces yourself, so naturally I assume you must have something to sell.
Well, we do. So perhaps we could, you could have a look at the items and let us know if you might be interested at all.
I was led to believe that there were 4 of you, yet I can only see 3.
Yes, I'm afraid our colleague Mr. Leach took a rather strange turn when looking at that particular piece over there. I think he found it rather disturbing and has stepped out for a few minutes.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Could you tell us anything about the piece? It's particularly striking and unusual.
Yes, it is an effigy of a goddess, the bloated woman, made from mutton jade. It is a fine piece, and I do understand it can be quite unnerving to behold. But it is merely a statue of a goddess probably never existed. Smiles. But yes, it is a unique piece. I paid a lot of money for it.
I had heard that the folklore surrounding the bloated woman had perhaps been adopted by some of the businesses, shall we say, in the city.
Really? Tell me more.
Well, I'd heard that some of the organised crime elements of the city had adopted it as a way of perhaps scaring off the opposition.
She leans forward and taps some ash into her ashtray. There was a time when the Order of the Bloated Woman was one of the most dreaded secret societies in all of China, but those times have gone. Do you have a particular interest in cults, Mr. Lockhart?
Well, I do. I have an interest in many things related to the occult and the esoteric arts, particularly the more artistic parts of the area.
Well, we share a common interest then, if that is the case. I too am fascinated by the occult.
Well, I'm sure you may be interested in this. Let me show you what we've brought, and I'll unwrap the claws and pass it sort of reverently towards her.
Okay. She says she gestures to one of her servants and says something in Chinese. And he takes a cup and a small china teapot off the tray and heads towards the door. I will see whether your friend would benefit from refreshments if he is feeling poorly.
That's very kind. He was looking a little pale.
Perhaps I could. I'll just pop out and check on him, Jacob.
Oh, that would be kind, Bert. Thank you.
Oh, I'll head out to Lucky.
Okay, you head out just behind the servant who approaches you, Lucky, and hands you a small tray with an ornate china cup and a small teapot on it. Madame Lin, she say you'll benefit from tea.
Thank you very much. I shall take it out to my friend.
Okay, hands it to you.
With the tea, I'm not gulping it down. I have had a sip, but I'm not. I'm trying to get away with not having any more.
Okay.
I'm not touching it.
What did you say? Did you say something then, Bert?
Yeah, I'm not touching it. I'm just taking it out to Jacob. Out to Jacob. It's Lucky. To Lucky. Yeah, I want to talk to Lucky.
Okay, so back inside, you're going to show her what?
The lion's claw gauntlets.
Okay. You move over to her and hand. She kind of sits up on the chaise longue. In fact, as you approach her, one of her servants kind of steps across in front of you and holds out his hands to take the gauntlets from you, and then he passes them to his mistress. You see her. She looks at them and turns the gauntlets over in her hands. Hold on a minute. Sorry. Rude, but spirited. Hunter's trophy, perhaps? Or the work of someone who wished to appear more fearsome than they truly were. She makes a kind of dismissive gesture. Such pieces appeal to collectors of the dramatic, but they lack refinement. They are not, how shall I say, aligned with my tastes. Smiles politely and shakes her head slightly. I appreciate you showing this to me, Mr. Lockhart, but I fear this is not something I would wish to pursue.
Well, I understand we all have our particular tastes and interest in advancing our collections. I have one other piece, but perhaps you could tell me what particular areas you are interested in. In my line of business, we often find ourselves in possession of interesting items, and if I know what the sort of things you're interested in, I could perhaps hunt them out.
Well, items such as this, she gestures to the statue. Well, look around you. You're free to take in the type of items that I'm interested in. But my particular fetish, if you wish to use that word, currently is for ancient tomes and writings. I am building quite an extensive library.
Well, we often come across interesting tomes. Is there any particular field or area or period of history that you focus on?
Any occult-related writings. The rarer and older, the better.
Well, it may not be worth me showing you the other piece, but would you like to see it?
Well, since you've taken the trouble to bring it all the way to me, then it would be most discourteous of me not to.
I'll take out the high priest robe and sort of pass it toward the servant again.
The servant hands the gauntlets back to you, takes the robe, and hands it gingerly across to his mistress.
I think it likely to be of East African origin, perhaps associated with a particularly violent cult, the cult of the bloody tongue.
Yes, a ceremonial garment of East African for sure. The kingfisher feathers are quite striking, though the flamingo is a curious choice. It is beautiful, yes, but beauty alone does not make an object valuable, he says as she turns it over. Its provenance is uncertain, but Do you know anything more about this cult?
Well, other than that they, I think, originate in East Africa, but I am aware that their influence has spread somewhat wider than this. I picked up this particular piece in New York, of all places.
New York. Cult of the Bloody Tongue. What do you know of this cult?
That they are particularly violent, involved in sacrifice. Some of the research suggests that their members maybe have an interest in trying to open gateways to elder gods. Seem to be
Gateways to
particularly
elder gods.
power hungry, and well, I've also heard tales that some of their priests had the power to raise the dead. All folklore, of course.
Well, of course, what you have told me there may be common with most cults. But nevertheless, the cult of the Bloody Tongue, I have not heard of them, no. But I am interested to know more about them.
Is this a piece you may be interested in?
Without any further provenance, then I'm afraid not, Mr. Lockhart. If you could tell me more about the cult, then maybe we would have more chance of negotiating a deal.
Right. Well, you mentioned an interest in tomes. To say my colleagues and I may be able to assist you in that area.
Really?
Yes, as I say, we frequently come across interesting artifacts, including tomes. Madame Lin, you seem to me to be the sort of person who it might be best to be upfront with. I've heard that you have a great deal of knowledge and influence in Shanghai. May be able to achieve things that we as foreigners and being new to Shanghai would not be able to achieve. We're looking for a particular individual, and we would be willing to pay if you were able to assist us in locating that individual, perhaps by obtaining and providing some tomes that you may be interested in.
Okay, let's hold it there. Let's switch to the outside. Bert, you've approached Lucky. Is there anything? Do you want to?
Is there anyone else around, guards wise?
Yeah, there are guards out in the courtyard, but they're not within. They're not close enough to hear you.
Okay. They're watching.
Yeah. Well, they're kind of just watching the courtyard, but they're not. You're in plain view of them, but they're not just staring at you.
Oh, okay. I will go up to Lucky. I've got a tea for him and a tea for me.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Tea for two.
I'll hand him a cup of tea. Take my cup of tea and throw it on the floor. We're in a lot of trouble here, Lucky. How are you feeling?
Not great. A little shaky. After what happened with the statues in the pyramid, I didn't want to take a chance of me not being able to control myself in there, so I just had to remove myself from the situation. But I'm okay out here.
I got you. I understand. Do not drink that. Did you see what I saw? That statue?
Yeah, I did, and that was what turned my stomach.
I got bad vibes, man. I got bad vibes. I think we just walked into, I don't know, the spider's web, the hornet's nest, all the damn insects. Just, we got to get out of here.
That was my immediate thought. Well, but is there a chance she's just a collector?
No. Oh, yeah, all right, yeah. There's a chance. But my guts are 5-alarm fire. I'm telling you, there's no chance.
Well, what do? We have to give Jacob a chance to do his negotiation. Don't give away too much and hope we can just get out. If she's connected, she knows exactly who we are.
Yeah, she does.
We thought we'd have been dead already.
The best thing we can hope for is to get out. Just, are you going to be all right here if I go back in and then tip Jacob the nod that it's time to leave?
I don't want to. You could go tell them that I'm feeling really poorly and that I need to leave, and suggest that we'll come back another time when I'm feeling better. Let's see, prepare to get out as fast as possible. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll try and do my best to tip the others the nod that we need to get out of here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll start feigning severe gut rot.
Stop feigning a bit of sickness. I'll pat you on the back and go, "Oh, don't worry, mate. I'll get the others."
Yeah.
And then I'll head straight back in.
Okay.
While he's doing that, I'm also going to take the opportunity to look around to see whether there's any other potential exits or anything else that we could, any alternative routes to get out if we can't get past the guards.
Okay, you're in a walled courtyard that only has the entrance to the house and the gates that you came through. The only ways in and out of it.
No way of climbing the walls or anything like that.
Well,
It's
the walls
just
they're 12 foot high, so they're quite high.
and not are they rough enough to be able to try that?
You could jump. Well, yeah. I mean, you could try and climb over them. There's nothing. There's no like spikes or anything on the top. It's just a high wall.
Yeah. What are the guards carrying? The guards obviously armed.
Yeah, you saw. Well, you can't see from where you are, but you noticed when you came in that they had handguns. They've also got your guns as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Meanwhile, back inside, Madame Lin says, "Go on. I am intrigued."
Well, we've been looking. Since we arrived in Shanghai, we've been looking for a fellow Westerner, a man called Jack Brady.
Okay, you notice as you say the name Jack Brady, she's got a mouthful of tea. She's almost. Well, she doesn't spit it out, but she almost does. You see her eyes. For the first time since you came in, you see her completely, almost lose her composure altogether. But she quickly regains her composure, puts the cup down, and says, "Did you say Jack Brady?"
I did.
Why do you want him?
Well, we've been. I think I'd rather keep that to myself for the time being, Madame Lin. But you clearly know of them.
I do know of the man, yes. Unfortunately. But I'd rather you didn't keep it to yourself for the time being. Tell me, what do you know of Brady? Where is he?
Well, I know he's in Shanghai, but other than that, I don't know where he is. I know he's been going by the rather uninteresting moniker of John Smith, and I know he's in Shanghai, but he seems to be extremely keen to keep a low profile.
Have you come here looking for him?
Yes.
To Shanghai, I mean?
Yes.
Why?
I want to talk to him. I suspect he has information that would assist myself and my colleagues.
Very interesting. I want to talk to him too, but for different reasons altogether. He's a thief. He has something of mine, and I want it back.
It seems that we both want something from the elusive Mr. Brady. I was rather hoping, Madame Lin, that you might have the resources to locate him. But he seems to be keeping a low profile from both of us.
She seems quite. You see a flicker of anger across her face. Yes, my inability to track him down in Shanghai is most frustrating. We are not the only ones looking for Mr. Brady. He is possibly the most sought-after man in Shanghai. It seems strange. Did you come here today specifically to find out more about him? Was this all a ruse? She says, gesturing at the items.
Not a ruse, Madame Lin. We all require payment of some sort for selling items such as this. The payment I was looking for wasn't necessarily of a monetary nature.
Of course, I understand. She smiles. I'm impressed, but maybe we should both be more honest with each other. Brady has stolen something from me, something precious, an artifact I had only recently acquired. It was taken whilst in transit to my home. It is mine, and I want it back. If you can help me, then I will help you in any way that I can as repayment.
Well, Madame Lin, I'm very interested.
Just as you say that, Bert comes back in.
It seems that our interests align in many ways, Madame Lin.
Well, maybe we can be of use to each other, after all. As she settles back down in her chaise longue.
Do you have any idea where he might be, or any leads at all?
I'm afraid not, no. He is impressively elusive. I have heard rumours, and I have been just behind him, but to date I have not had any success, despite having deployed many resources across the city to find him. What do you know of a man called Carl Stanford?
Well, I know he's an associate of Mr. Brady's, and I know he is also here in Shanghai. You clearly know of him as well.
I know nothing. I know little of him, save for the fact that he's after Brady. He is a powerful man, and a dangerous one. He arrived in Shanghai not long after the items that were stolen. He came to me first, desperate to buy them. He did not believe when I told him that they were no longer in my possession. Men like Stanford rarely accept that something has slipped beyond their grasp. And now he hunts Jack Brady as well. He is not a man who tolerates obstacles. If he believes Brady has what he is after, he will pursue him without hesitation. And if you cross his path, well, Shanghai is indeed a dangerous city. I feel that we can help each other. I have much influence within the city and power in certain places. Is your friend okay? Says talking to you, Bert.
Not, madam. He's feeling most sick. I really do think we should be taking him. I'm afraid not, madam. He's feeling most sick. I do think we should be taking him home, Jacob, Lord. I don't want to get in the way of what you're discussing here, but I do think it would be best if we did start to head out.
Right, thank you. But well, Madame Lin, I have no wish to be rude, but if Mr. Leach is unwell, then I think perhaps we should take him somewhere where he can recover.
Of course, I cannot pretend that I'm not disappointed. I feel that we had just begun to hit it off and find common ground.
Well, perhaps we could continue this another time, and in the meantime, we can continue our investigations into Mr. Brady's whereabouts. No doubt you will do the same, and perhaps we can assist each other in the very near future.
Again, Madame Lin, great apologies for interrupting you. Absolutely. If we can perhaps return to you with information about Mr. Brady, that could be very valuable. We can scratch each other's backs. No insult intended, madam.
No insult taken. If you could furnish me with any information about Jack Brady, then I will be in your debt for certain.
Oh, we would very much like that, madam. And again, apologies for my friend. But we will be on our way now, and hopefully be back in touch, ma'am.
I wish Mr. Leach a speedy recovery, and I hope that you will return swiftly, Miles.
I'll get to my feet and say, well, Madame Lin, thank you so much for your hospitality and for the wonderful tea. We'll leave you now, and hopefully we can be in touch again soon.
She just nods. Okay, you head out into the courtyard where you see Lucky not looking very well. You're going to head towards the gate?
Yep, collect our things.
Yeah, towards the gate.
Give me my guns back.
Yeah.
Yep.
The guards smile graciously as they hand you all of your weapons back, and with no further ado, they open the gates to the courtyard and let you out into the old city.
Once we're out of earshot of the guards or anything, I'll say, what was all that about, Bert? I think we were making progress there.
I think we walked right into the center of a hornet's nest there, Jacob.
Well, we know she's got her fingers into organised crime. I suspect she's the head of the Order of the Bloated Woman. Well, the crime group that's adopted the moniker of the Order of the Bloated Woman. But she's going to have powerful contacts and powerful resources that we may be able to benefit from. I agree, she's a dangerous woman.
Well, maybe I'm reading it wrong. Maybe you got it right, and that she is a crime boss, and she's using that name to throw a bit of fear about. I'm just looking at the way Lucky behaved. I'm looking at the statues. I think she's a real one. I think she's a believer. I think we just accidentally went face to face with probably the top cultist in this whole city. That's my feeling. That's my gut.
Well, look, Lucky, are you all right?
No, I'm fine now. I just didn't want to put myself in a situation where what happened when I cracked and killed Wilfred happened again. The sight of those statues that did something to me. They're of the nature of the items that we've seen previously. The fact that she's got them on display, she's either immune to the effects of them or she's succumbed to them. I kind of leaning towards Bert's opinion of her. Why would you have something that disturbing on display? Even if you're a collector, it doesn't feel right. Now we don't know what Brady stole from her.
Well, there is another possibility, and I'm not saying this is right necessarily, but if she's the head of an organised crime group that has effectively adopted the Order of the Bloated Woman as a way of instilling fear into others, it would make absolute sense to have an artifact like that on display.
Yeah, no, I feel you. That it certainly it does instill the fear. I just
But
Or
she
alternatively, it's a double bluff in that she's staging herself as the head of a crime family, a crime organisation that's using the bloated woman as a cover, but in fact they're a cult. She's the head of a cult, using a crime family as a cover.
Well, look, we don't know whether to trust her or not. But let's look at what we do know. While you were out of the room, the conversation I had with her was really quite interesting, although perhaps not terribly enlightening. She professed not to be interested in the lion's claws or the high priest's robe. She was much more interested in the prospect of tomes or writings. I hinted that we may be able to help her in that respect, just to try and sort of keep the avenues open. But she visibly, she was she didn't give anything away until Brady's name was mentioned, and then the facade crumbled a little. She couldn't contain it then. She told me that Brady has stolen an artifact from her. She was most keen to find him, but clearly hasn't been able to yet.
Well,
she also She knows of Carl Stanford as well, described him as powerful and dangerous, said he's after Brady too.
So if Stanford and Lin are opposing factions of the cult,
the question is which one is is on the good side and which one isn't.
Neither of them are on the good side. If you think about what happened from the notes, what you encountered in London, Gavigan was part of an English faction, and that woman who came over from Egypt,
Shafik, yeah,
was part of another faction, and they were stealing artifacts from each other in order to get a lead. So maybe they're both cultist groups, factions, and Brady maybe Brady's the good one because he's stolen something that they need in order to achieve what they're seeking to achieve, which is the reason why they're both hunting him down so hard.
He is certainly a thorn in their side, isn't he?
Yeah. And that's the only reason why she's letting us continue, is that she hopes that she can manipulate us into finding Brady for her, at which point she gets Brady, she gets the artifacts, and she kills us.
She's the old established power in the same way that Shafik was. And Gavigan and Stanford are the up-and-coming usurpers, would-be usurpers.
Where does Ho Fang fit into this?
As a functionary, I think he really is just an importer and exporter. He just knows.
Well, again, a cultist, I think.
Oh, yes, yeah, a cultist.
But he's facilitating the transport. Yes, his logistics.
Yeah, a cultist with logistic skills.
Yeah.
Maybe a seat at the top table, but possibly quite far down the end.
Do we know if Ho Fang is a man or a woman, or not a person at all?
Just thinking theoretically, Ho Fang isn't an actual person and is a fictional person, or we've been in Ho Fang's office.
The company exists,
right? So Ho Fang isn't a nom de plume for Madame Lin. He's a functionary of her organisation.
You've been in his office and you found the letter that he.
Yeah, exactly. So he's definitely. I think we're creating confusion by Ho Fang is a facilitator for moving things around, but we don't know whether he works for Madame Lin or whether he works for
Carl Stanford.
Carl Stanford, yeah.
Hang
I'm glad you keep filling the names in for me.
I'm just thinking back to poor Miss Lee before she died. She told us that she was asking questions, wasn't she? She told us that she had a contact that worked at Ho Fang who overheard a conversation between Ho Fang and Carl Stanford, and that she arranged to meet Stanford. So we know from that at least there's a connection between Ho Fang and Stanford.
Yeah.
You mentioned anything about where she's going to meet Stanford?
No, she said she did meet him though. She said that Stanford's eyes were boring into her and that she felt dizzy as a result.
Yeah. We don't know whether that was magic on his part or...
Yes, we do.
Well, no, I was thinking that as well.
It's never going to be the easy answer.
No, I wasn't suggesting that it was. I just thought maybe an innate ability, given that we've discovered that there are other types of creature around. Is he entirely human? That was my only thought.
Yeah.
Comes to something that when we were thinking, no, him casting magic isn't weird enough. Maybe he's not human. I don't know.
I was just thinking back to when we spoke to Chang, he recognised the name Ho Fang, said that it was Ho Fang who owned the company, described him as a name that carries weight in this city.
Right.
And interestingly, he said he suspected Ho Fang was involved in criminal activity, implying he was involved in organised crime, and then went straight on to explain to us about the Order of the Bloated Woman.
I don't think we need to necessarily concern ourselves too much about that connection at the moment. We just know that they are... Understanding the hierarchy probably isn't that relevant. We know the lot what Ho Fang is doing. Quite who he's doing it for is kind of immaterial because they're factions of the same cult.
Well, they are, but what I just thought was interesting is almost in the same sentence, Chang was talking about Ho Fang and then went straight on to organised crime, referring to the Order of the Bloated Woman. I mean, that might imply a connection between Ho Fang and Madame Lin.
Are you wandering through the alleyways, by the way?
Yeah, as we're talking, we keep watching. I was watching our back. Oh no, sorry. I just automatically assumed that, given the fact she's got a statue of a bloated woman, that she's the head of the crime syndicate, which is using the bloated woman as a cover, but it's not a cover. The crime syndicate is the cover, and she actually is head of the Order of the Bloated Woman, and that Ho Fang works for her. That was my assumption.
Well, I think you may be right. And Stanford is a rival.
Yes.
I think we've got two layers of organisation here, and in other places. We have the established cults who believe in their particular aspect, their particular mask. And then you have this other organisation that is trying to link them together and trying to open the gates using the eclipse. And there seems to be some rivalry with this other sort of world-spanning organisation, the Gavigans, the Stanfords, who are not necessarily allies of the leaders of these local cults.
But does... for what we know of Nyarlathotep, it likes playing games and essentially messing with mortals. Maybe he's promised individuals within each faction immortality, power, and that's why they're setting against each other, because they want to be first in line for his boons when they bring him forth.
And it's not difficult to achieve that, given that you're dealing with disparate, power-hungry cults, all of whom would be quite happy to stab each other in the back for any advancement.
Yeah. So that might be where the competition is coming from. He's actually fermented it himself for humour value, to entertain himself.
Or as a way
ultimately, or winnowing the wheat from the chaff, and then having the most powerful and ruthless be the ones that bring him forth.
Or maximising the chances of him being brought forth by having several people trying to achieve the same end.
Yeah. But again, this is interesting theory crafting, but I don't think it changes any of our next decisions. Just, what we do. We're not any further forward in finding Brady. Lynn doesn't have any information that would assist us. Incredibly dangerous for us to work with her on the my enemy's enemy is my friend basis, because
I agree. It gives us some leverage with Brady if we ever find him. We know that he should be very afraid of both Stanford and Madame Lin.
Yeah,
we don't know what sort of resources Stanford has, but
he has enough resources to have orchestrated nearly a mass murder of us.
Yeah, but we know, we've got a sneak behind the curtain of what sort of resources Madame Lin has got. So presumably he is on a par with her.
Yes.
How are we going to find Brady compared to... We're bantamweights compared to those two heavyweights.
Yeah, well, we need to be quicker on our feet then, don't we?
Have we entirely burnt our bridges with Mr. Chang? He was going to try and put some feelers out.
But you might... you might be able to persuade him to help more.
He was going to try and help find Brady, and I think he knew about Stanford.
Well, how much does he actually know? How much does he know? Because I think we messed up by assuming that he was much more aware of the cults than he actually was.
Yeah, I thought he knew everything, and it turns out he know nothing.
Yeah, he doesn't know anything of the true nature of the investigation.
He knows about the organised crime aspect.
Yeah, he doesn't. So if we are really burned out on leads, maybe we tell him everything and provide him with evidence, which will either bring him to our side or devastate his mind. So there is a risk there. I don't know, but I think we're fast running out of leads in Shanghai, and really our only way forward is to find Brady as it stands at the moment.
The only other lead, as far as Brady is concerned, that we haven't followed up is that bar.
But that's so dangerous.
We've got nothing other than the actual location to work with, have we?
And they know what we look like. We go in there and start asking questions. That's as bad as wandering into Lin's house. I just think I wouldn't even know what we're going in there to ask. You can't go in there and ask random people.
I think I do think we need to go in there, but I also think we need to get the questions to a minimum. Perhaps just eyes open.
Oh, well, we can't all go in there together. We need to be disguised to do that.
He says, looking at Sir Edward.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obvious party animal aside. Or we watch Ho Fang's warehouse, wait for him to go to work, then follow him back to his house, and then we have somewhere else to search, maybe for additional information on what he's doing, his connections, and maybe if we are really stuck, we have a conversation with him. And by conversation, I mean kidnap him.
Yeah, we got it.
But that's we don't even know what he looks like, as we said earlier on. So, but if we can track him down, I think it'll be obvious who he is once we see him going into the building, because he'll be the one in the expensive clothes, probably driving an expensive car or being driven.
I think once we try something that desperate, though, our time in remaining time in Shanghai will probably be measured in minutes.
Well, I'm suggesting we follow him, and then break into his house while he's at work, rather than kidnapping him off the street. I'm just saying I agree.
I think it's a last resort, though. I think we need to try Chang again. I mean, I know, but things didn't end well between you and him, did they? But
it doesn't mean that you or Sir Edward might be a better place to talk to him.
Did you say he was keen on avenging Ms. Lee's death, and also, I think, reporting things to the police? But
he's very, very keen on reporting things to the police. A lot keener on the police than I am.
Well, I think than we all are. But if he's really keen on avenging poor Ms. Lee's death, there's a lever there, because we know that Brady was involved there.
Brady was involved to the extent that.
Involved to the extent that Ms. Lee was trying to find him at the time, and it was that led her to her death.
Well, in which case that goes back to that we tell him the true reason, and he's not going to like us very much that we knowingly put Miss Lee in harm's way. She's dead because of us, because we asked her to hunt someone down, knowing that was someone that didn't want to be found.
Well, I agree, but I don't think we knew quite how dangerous it was. We didn't know about Stanford's involvement, did we? Or his
no, that is true.
His power.
But then it goes back to at which point we have to explain to him that we believe the fate of the world is resting on this, and then we
And
have to provide him with irrefutable evidence that we're not insane.
And that the only chance of avenging Ms. Lee's death is probably for him to help us find Brady.
Yeah. Just quickly, are we getting the translation of that text that was on the map today, or did we ask for that today and we have to go and get it tomorrow at the museum?
Yeah, so did we go there this morning?
Sorry, are you asking me that?
Yeah, I was asking anyone that knows.
Anyone that put any notes?
Oh, it was this morning.
It was this morning. Okay, so it'll be tomorrow that we have to get the. Okay.
Yeah, this morning you did. You went to the consulate to get your passport sorted out. You went to the bank to put the chest in, and you went to the museum this morning.
Busy, weren't we?
So it's getting on to it's coming. It's like late afternoon now.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
Perhaps
we head back to the hotel and then and we can discuss this further. Get something to eat.
However close we are to the hotel, should we hail a taxi just to make sure that in case we're being followed, it might put someone off the scent?
Yeah, absolutely.
So do we do the 2 taxi trick again?
Yeah, that's a good idea. So let's do that.
Yeah, you're actually quite a reasonable distance from the hotel. If you look at the map, is you're where the pinpoint is, which is like number 31, and then your hotel is now on number 19, the Palace, which is here. So it's about a mile and a half.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to grab a taxi and head out of the old city back to the Bund and the more civilized part of Shanghai. In fact, the ultimate in civilized, the Palace Hotel. Okay.
So with the taxis, were we going to effectively take 4 taxis? 2 and 2, and take a taxi and then drop it and then get another one?
Okay, so you're not going straight back.
No.
Okay.
Because we're probably going to be followed by Madame Lin's
goons.
Goons,
yeah. And then anyone else who happens to be on our tail.
A massive procession of half the population of Shanghai following us.
Various different criminal groups, corrupt police,
reporters, our next investigators, waiting for their introductions.
Okay, by a circuitous route, you make your way back to your hotel, and it's approaching 5 o'clock by the time that you step into the salubrious hotel lobby and make your way up to your adjoining rooms.
So, any shady characters outside watching for us?
You don't notice.
We haven't noticed them.
You don't notice anything untoward as you approach the front of the hotel, nor as you enter the lobby. Like, you don't see any guys in dock clothes with big sickles hanging off their belts or anything like that.
They've employed higher class.
No, everything is as normal as you'd expect it to be. As you enter the hotel, you chose the Palace because it's the most secure hotel in the city, and it has the security on the door is very strict, and there's lots of security in the lobby as well. So yeah, you feel immediately safer, if that's possible, in Shanghai at this time. So you're back to your room with no further incident. So you're now in your rooms.
I'm thinking, so as well as Chang's desire for retribution, there is also the angle of London. He does answer to them.
Yeah.
So if necessary, I could apply a little bit of pressure in that respect.
Well, I think, Bert, as I said, I think you've burnt your bridges with him, but perhaps we could have a try.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something for tomorrow, and also going back to the museum tomorrow to see if they've been able to translate the writings.
Yeah. Very interested to know what that says.
And Mr. Chang's relationship with Miss Lee, more than just friends. Is that what we believe now?
No, that was a vicious rumor that you just introduced previously.
I'll introduce the rumor, then I'll validate it myself.
Okay.
Nobody had mentioned that except you.
So, just for clarity, don't make things up and then try to remember them weeks later.
Okay.
Yeah, if you keep saying it, it feels like lots of people said it, therefore it must be true.
Yes.
Oh my
That's
god. How
it's
very
a long.
2026
We're going to
of
have
us.
to invoke. We're going to have to invoke the 25th Amendment on Sir Edward.
Okay. So what are it's Monday evening. It's at 5:30. What are your plans for the evening? Do you have any plans for this evening after dinner? Obviously.
Do we want to go and have another look at the warehouse, or
Not really. What does everyone else think?
Mhm.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. What was the suggestion?
We'll have a look at the warehouse again.
To what end?
Well, you were interested in finding Ho Fang.
Yeah, we won't be there in a
Yeah.
moment. And I thought you just told me that was the last resort.
Well, no, kidnapping him was the last resort. It was immediately after you suggested kidnapping him.
No, I did also say that the kidnapping was the last resort, but I think that
we're agreed.
Yeah, we definitely agreed on that front. The suggestion that we follow him back to his house, then we've got somewhere else that we can break into and search for additional information, and I think it's still a reasonable idea. But given the hour of the day, I don't think he'll be at the warehouse anyway. I suspect he probably also runs regular working hours because he's got a regular business to run as well. Right? Even insane cultists have got to sleep.
Well, it's just that now's the time you might be leaving to go home. But
It's late afternoon now.
It's about
5:30.
5:30.
Yeah, it's by the time we get there, you'll have gone.
Yes, because obviously you have to have dinner first.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Let's do that tomorrow.
Tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Carl Stanford, how much do we know about him?
He's a horrendous murderer.
So he is responsible for the Hotel Indigo.
Yes, I believe so.
Was Lee
He's
described
pretty competent. It was him at the end of the phone.
Yes. Yeah.
Was Lee described Stanford as an American and an old friend of Brady's, although that could well have been the way Stanford described himself. We know, or we suspect he may have some magical ability because he used that on Miss Lee. We know he's got a powerful in Shanghai. I'm not sure I understand quite where that power comes from. He's a Westerner. Chang will know more of him, I would have thought.
Yes. That's what we find out from him tomorrow. We need more information on Stanford from him. I think we just do nothing else this evening and visit Chang tomorrow and visit the museum. I don't think we're going to get anything much more productive this evening.
Okay.
So let's just eat and get an early night, and Sir Edward can do some reading.
Okie doke. So you have an uneventful, although very pleasant dinner, and then retire early to your rooms and rest. Tuesday morning dawns bright and warm. Tuesday the 5th of May. The barometer on the wall of your room shows that it's already 21 degrees when you were getting dressed for breakfast. You can hear the sounds of the Shanghai outside. You have again, I presume you're going down for breakfast?
Yes.
Okay. And you enjoy a sumptuous breakfast, which again passes uneventfully. You are unable to spot anybody of any suspicion within the hotel. Everything seems normal and very pleasant and very expensive. What's your next move?
Planning how we're going to do a bunk without paying for the hotel. I think we go to the museum first.
Yep.
Okay. So you finish breakfast. Are all four of you going to head to the museum? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
2x2.
Two different taxis or walking?
Yeah.
Try and travel by taxi as much as possible because it's we're harder to follow and also harder to attack.
Can one of you guys roll a percentile dice for me, please? Preferably Dave.
I think so. Oh, why me? I think Simon should do it because he's already rolled a 99.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Do you want me to roll then?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Go on.
You're not going to roll 99 twice in a row, are you?
No, I'm going to roll 47 this time.
Okay. Okay, you make the short journey to the museum. which again passes uneventfully. You head inside, up to the desk, the same desk that you addressed yesterday. It's a different attendant this time. Good morning, gentlemen. How can I help you?
Good morning. We saw Ying Pei yesterday. I wondered if we could see him again. He should be expecting us.
Of course. Is it Mr. Lockhart?
It is.
Yes, he did mention that you would be calling around today. If you just bear with me a second, he walks across the reception area and he picks up a telephone. And there's a brief exchange, which you think is in Chinese, and he says, "If you'd like to take a seat over there, please. He'll be down shortly."
Thank you.
Okay, you've not been sat down for more than a couple of minutes in the museum foyer when Ying Pei appears, dressed as he was yesterday in his smart suit. He strides purposefully across, shakes you all by the hand as you stand from your seats. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for coming back.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, so I contacted Mr. Moo, and he was very intrigued by your gribblings. In fact, he wants to meet you himself to discuss them further.
Oh, very intrigued.
Jolly good.
Well, yes, must be something that's piqued his curiosity. He spends most of his time at home these days, so I'd say I was surprised was an understatement. And nevertheless, yes, there must be something more than the ordinary. I thought though it was odd, but anyway, I took the liberty of passing on the script to him, and he wishes to meet you in the old city later today, if that's okay.
Of course. You'll be very welcome.
Well, he did mention around 2:00. Would you be free then?
I'll look around. I think we would.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course.
Okay. Good. He hands you a piece of paper that has a Quiet Lantern Cafe. The address of it in the old city. It's just inside the old city walls in the northern part. Mr. Moo will meet you there at 2 p.m.
Thank you. It's very kind of you to go out of your way so much to help us. I look forward to meeting Mr. Moo. I've heard a great deal about him, and he's a highly respected scholar, clearly.
Well,
Thank you.
Well, the least I could do, as I said, I was surprised that he wanted to meet you himself, but yeah, he was quite grateful that I passed on the script. So yeah, maybe it'll be an interesting meeting for you. Maybe let me know what he says.
Of course. Well, thank you. We won't.
Yeah, no problem. Is there anything else
time.
I can do for you whilst you're here?
No, I'm sure you're a very busy man. So thank you once again, and we'll take our leave.
Well, have a good day, and I hope to see you again.
You too.
He strides away.
Do you think, gentlemen, we should take the original map and writing with us?
Honestly,
No, because we don't have it.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I think I should. I've got till 2:00 to get some more bullets.
That's what concerns me. This is that again will end badly.
I feel trapped in my bones.
So I thought it was on the map. We don't have the map.
I made a copy of it. I made a copy of it.
Yeah,
I know. I'm just slightly concerned as to whether it's not being a native Chinese speaker, whether we've got the characters absolutely right. But...
Well, I traced it as best I could. So I think it's pretty accurate. It was obviously enough to pique his interest. Can I suggest that all four of us don't all sit down with him? That a couple of us meet and speak with him, while other two keep some distance and act as cover in case it is some kind of trap.
Yes.
Sensible
precaution. Mr. Edward and I.
You two engage with him, and we'll loiter nearby.
And I think before we enter the cafe, we should prepare in whatever way we see fit. I certainly will.
What do you mean by that? We're speaking in riddles, Sir Edward.
Well, I shall be casting any protective magics that I can.
There you go. Why didn't you just say that? It's not a secret. We know you.
Yes,
we know that you can cast spells, sir. It is. We have no secrets. That is, I shall not be doing that because, as I said previously, they are a last resort for me, and I don't like what they do to my head. But given the way that you've saved all our lives, the last trap we encountered, I'm all for you preparing in any way you can.
You're still in the foyer of the museum at the moment.
Or should we head to the Shanghai Courier to see Mr. Chang?
Why the devil not?
Okay. Again, are you going in? I presume you're just going separate taxis, are you?
Yeah.
You always travel in twos, don't you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You make your way in a taxi to the Shanghai Courier. The doors open and you head in. Okay, you head into the offices of the Shanghai Courier, which obviously you're familiar with, been a couple of times before. One of the reporters who you've not seen before, a kind of middle-aged man, Western man, stands from his desk, comes over to you and says, "Good morning. Can I help you at all?"
Good morning. I'm Mr. Lockhart. I was hoping to see Mr. Chang if he's available.
Mr. Chang. Well, I'm afraid he's not in at the moment. Is there anything I can help you with?
Well, no, I was hoping to speak to him about something that we'd spoken about previously. Is he likely to be back today?
He looks round at one of the other reporters who's sitting next to him. She kind of gives him a bit of a look and a shrug. And well, if I'm honest, we don't really know.
Is he all right?
Yeah, well, we assume he's all right, but he's not been in for a few days. We think he's probably following a story. But I can take a message and let him have it. Get him to give you a call as soon as he comes back.
Well, please do. Tell him Mr. Lockhart called after him, and that I would like to speak to him as soon as possible. Is it normal?
Do you have a card, sir?
Yes. Here, have a copy. Is this normal for Mr. Chang to disappear? I'm concerned about his welfare.
Well, the female reporter who's sitting within earshot says, "Well, we are too, to be honest. This is the first time he disappeared without telling us for this amount of time. He'd be gone for 3 days. He looking into that murder at the Indigo Hotel. We were a bit worried about him, really, but from time to time he does go on undercover missions, as it were, and adventures. But so I'm sure that it is just that and nothing more. Yes, I think it's a little bit too early to be pressing the panic button at this stage.
If we can assist in any way, please say. I mean, if there's anywhere you might want us to look for him.
Oh well, of course, yes. Thank you. He is quite a well-connected gentleman, so I'm sure that there will be many that will be looking out for him. But I'll pass on the message when he returns. Get him to contact. Where are you staying, Mr. Lockhart?
In between hotels at the moment.
We are. So we'll pop in again and let you know once we're more settled.
Very well. Good day then.
Thank you. Good morning.
Okay, back outside.
That's a concern.
He's putting himself in considerable danger if he's investigating on his own. Just hoping he knows what he's doing.
I fear the worst.
For the moment, he believes it's only organised crime. But
you're standing outside the courier on the street now. Where are the other two, by the way? Did you go in as well, or were you just hanging about outside?
I think they're down the other end of the street.
Yeah, they must be outside. Okay, so they're waiting down the road.
Yeah, most likely hanging around a corner. So I think we need to gather them up and head back to the hotel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's dead.
Yeah, quite likely.
Okay, you get all four of you go back to the hotel, making your own, two separate groups. Back in your room again. It's kind of approaching midday now. We have to have all the windows open. It's very warm.
We need to put some conkers next to those open windows. Discourage anything from crawling in.
Be more concerned about giant things flying in.
The bats or the beetles.
They don't need a window.
Come straight through the wall.
Comes through the wall.
They'll just crash at the hotel.
Okay, yeah. So back in the relative serenity of your room.
Well, we need to have spot a lunch and then head off to this cafe in the old city.
Yes.
Okay.
Perhaps if we get there early, we can spend the time reconnoitering it.
Yeah.
Hopefully Mr. Mu is just a retired old academic and nothing more sinister.
Well, that's the hope, because if he's not, that's our very last potential lead, dried up.
It is. I can't think of anything else. We've got.
Well, Ho Fang's house, if we can find it.
Okay. So you're not doing anything other than having a lunch between now and your 2:00 appointment, then, no? Okay. Presume we're going the same taxi routine to the back down to the old city. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Can I
yeah,
get you
we
to
love it.
Somebody make a centaur roll for me, please.
Oh, I'm on it. Yay! 98.
Oh,
Nearly perfect.
Okay, don't let me roll, John.
Okay.
So Sir Edward and I are going to go and see him, and then Bert and Lucky, you're going to
Hang around outside, I guess.
Okay. Right, you head down to the old city in a taxi, and get out just inside the old city walls.
just to let you know, gentlemen, there's nothing I will be able to prepare just now, because it then becomes a little bit obvious that I have got protective magic on me. The one that you've seen before, where my body is shimmers, I don't think I'll be able to use that during the meeting. And something else has a similar effect. So useful as they are, they're not something that we can use, say, in polite company.
Well, I think we'll have to.
Can you cast those on us or just yourself?
I don't know, Darren.
It's you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah. Just me, of course.
Okay, you head into the rat warren that is the old city of Shanghai, with winding and crisscrossing narrow alleyways. You have an address for this cafe. You kind of spend a bit of time looking around. By the time you find it in the chaos, it's about 1:45. The streets narrow into a warren of angles and shadows. The modern city has long fallen away behind you. Ahead, tucked beneath the overhang of a sagging second-story balcony, you see the quiet lantern. It appears before you almost by accident. You don't see it at first, but then the lacquered signboard, its gold characters dulled by years of dust and humidity, appear, and the doorway, a narrow frame of dark wood. There is a small window in front of the cafe as well. But the window, it's quite dirty. You can see through. There's maybe half a dozen people sat inside. It feels like a real kind of place that tourists wouldn't come. There are only Chinese people here, and the kind of clientele around here, they're quite old as well. So yeah, an old kind of locals cafe is the impression that it gives you as you look at it from the outside. It has a single red paper lantern hangs above the door. What are you going to do?
We're a bit early, are we?
Yeah.
Well, do we go in and sit and wait?
Yes. I think we should go in and wait.
Okay, so you two going in the cafe. Where did you say the other two, Lucky and Bert? Where are you staying?
Hang around outside so that we can see into the cafe, but also just observe people arriving.
You said we should sit at a different table.
Yeah, we could do.
Yeah, let's sit at a different table.
Depends on how big the place is, I guess. I just didn't want to necessarily be trapped. But fine, yeah, I'm okay with that. He has never met us, so it doesn't matter.
Okay,
is that like his stand out like a sore thumb, though? Aren't we going to be the only Westerners in here?
Yeah, you are.
Okay,
yeah.
Outside.
Outside.
Lucky was right, I was wrong. Yeah, fine.
Okay.
Before I head into the cafe, I will grasp the scepter under my jacket, the scepter of Nyambi.
Okay.
And invoke its powers.
Yeah. Okay. You stride purposefully towards the door. The door's kind of half open. It has a door stop which is propping it open, and you can feel like the warm air coming from inside. It's obviously warm outside as well, but it's even warmer inside because as you head inside, the first thing that hits you is the smell like frying meat, spices, and strong coffee. The room is long and narrow. Ceiling fans turn lazily overhead, stirring the smoke from the patrons. From a pair of patrons that are sharing a water pipe in the corner. There are another 2 tables that are full with 4 people and 2 people. As you walk inside, your shoes click softly on the tile floor. There's a counter that runs along the left surface, polished smooth by time. Behind it, a barista in a white apron nods to you. The apron was white once, but it's all sorts of stains down it now. There is also a small table near the back, half hidden behind a bamboo screen. There is one chair has some sort of Chinese garment thrown over the back of it. A porcelain cup sits on the table. It's coffee steaming, but there's nobody sat at the table. What are you going to do?
Does it look like there's anyone waiting the tables, or is it go up to the barista?
No, it'd be waiter service.
Is there any other table free apart from the one?
Yeah, there are half a dozen other tables that are free.
Well, we'll go and sit perhaps in a table as far away from anyone else as possible.
Okay, you go sit at a table and you haven't sat there for more than like 10 seconds when the barista or the waiter comes up to you and he says something in Chinese and looks at you expectantly.
I'll say coffee, 2. Hold up 2 fingers.
He kind of, his eyes narrow a little bit. He goes back up to the counter and points at the coffee cups, and holds up 2 fingers.
And nod.
Okay,
Smile.
he nods. He doesn't smile. He just frowns. Brings it over.
I'll smile there.
He brings the cups over to you and then pours the coffee in quite kind of a haphazard manner, so that some of it spills over into the saucers, and then he walks back to the counter.
I think we're going to have to rely on Mr. Move finding us rather than vice versa.
Yes, I shouldn't think that'll be too hard for him.
Nor me.
Yeah, you do. For all your time in Shanghai, now is the time you feel most out of place. Everywhere else you've been, pretty much it almost felt like a home from home to some degree. But here it just feels like there's probably nobody in this cafe that speaks any English at all.
Yes, I believe we are in China now.
Certainly feels a long way from Boston.
A long way from Cairo too. At least I had the advantage there of learning the language over the years.
Okay, you sit there for a good 10 minutes.
Take out my pocket watch, check the time.
Okay, as you check the time, you hear some footsteps. You hear a door open and close from the other side of the bamboo screen, so the far end of the cafe. And then round stepping out from behind the bamboo screen, you see a short man, compact, maybe 60 years of age, with a clean shaven head. He wears traditional Chinese robes, which hang neatly on him. Give him the look of a scholar. He looks orderly. He surveys the cafe over the top of his half-moon glasses, and then he nods at you and moves towards the table, picking up the coffee that was on the table that I mentioned earlier on the way.
I'll pick up my coffee. Jacob don't want to take this man away from his own table. Were there enough chairs on the other table, on his original table?
Yeah, there were. Yeah.
I'll sort of pick up my cup and wave and sort of point back at his table.
He smiles and puts his hands like in a prayer motion in front of us, and then he goes and sits down.
Yeah, so we'll go over and join him.
Yeah.
He says, he looks at you both. Thank you for coming. Please sit.
Thank you, and thank you so much for seeing us. Yes, we do appreciate it. Realise that you're retired now, and you've taken the time to see us. We're very grateful.
It is not a problem. My name is Mu Xian. Even though I'm now retired, I work occasionally as a consultant to the museum. These characters you showed Mr. Ying, they are old, but also very unusual.
You seem particularly interested in them. Are you able to translate them?
I would like to know where you found the script. Before I can help you properly, I need to understand the origin of the text. He smiles.
Well, we've found it written on another document, which we don't have with us, but a map.
What map? Where did you find it? What map is it?
It's on the chart. The naval chart.
Where?
We have them. We don't have the map with us at the moment. It's back at our lodgings.
Where did you come across it? Where is it? Where does the text come from?
Well, we found it. The map slid into a series. Well, one of a tome that we came across.
Okay, his eyebrow raised. A tome? What tome?
Well, not one we can read, I'm afraid.
Where did you find it?
Well, that, Mr. Moo, is something I'd like to keep to myself. You'll appreciate that. Well, I haven't introduced myself properly, but I buy and sell antiquities, including books, and some of my customers are extremely discreet, and I couldn't betray a confidence. I'm sure you'll understand.
He looks at you. Can you make a charm roll, please?
Yes, an extreme success.
Oh, okay.
1, 0, 1.
You got a 1. Okay.
Yeah. Right. So, would you like to get married?
Okay. Right. Of course, I would not wish you to betray anybody's confidence. I understand. If this is a customer of yours, as you can appreciate, having the context of the passage can often help fully understand it. What do you know of the tome that you have found? Is it yours? Where did you buy it from?
Again, Mr. Moo, I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm being awkward, but my customers expect me to be discreet. They expect me not to disclose who's buying what or where I source items, not without their consent. I feel like I'm in a very awkward situation, Mr. Moo. I don't want to offend you and dearly would like you to help us, but at the same time, these are questions that I simply can't answer at the moment.
Of course, I understand, and forgive me, I should not have asked so many prying questions. I am able to translate the text for you. It does not make a huge amount of sense, I'm afraid. Here, I have written a English translation, and he slides it across the table to you. It says, "Beneath the dormant mount, the servants shall unleash a great fire upon the heavens, ripping the sky asunder. Their frenzied, blasphemous orgies will call forth the ravenous old ones to feed freely on this cursed plain."
Goodness, that's a disturbing paragraph, Mr. Moo.
Seems like a lot of old rubbish to me.
Well,
what do you think of it, Mr. Lockhart?
Well, I've come across other ancient writings and rather disturbing religious texts that talk of similar things, unleashing ancient gods upon the earth, primitive beliefs, but strongly held ones nevertheless.
And widespread, too.
Where have you come across these writings? He says, leaning closer in.
Libraries and collections around the world. There's some public, created over many hundreds of years, and others private collections.
It seems a surprisingly deep-rooted belief that has a tendency to spring up in various disparate locations around the world. Egypt, for example, and now here.
Indeed, it is quite disturbing in some respects. But now, what will you do with the information I've given you?
Well, we may need to see if it relates to the text in any way.
I would very much like to see the original.
Well, Mr. Moo, I would very much dearly like to share it with you, but it's not within my gift to do that. So I would need to gain the consent of my customers before I could do that. But if I can procure that consent, can I arrange to see you again, perhaps through the same gentleman who arranged it, who was kind enough to arrange it on this occasion?
Sir Lockhart, I like you. You seem like a nice fellow. Please, can we be honest with each other?
I'm
the type of man who does not like subterfuge or misdirection. If you have a question that you wish to ask me, then please ask it me, but ask me with an honest heart, not hiding behind half a truth.
Do you believe that these words carry real weight?
What do you believe?
I believe that there is a lot more on earth and in heaven that we do not know. and maybe places other than Earth and Heaven.
May I ask what brings you both to Shanghai?
Well, as I hinted at earlier, Mr. Moo, we've travelled widely around the globe, and these beliefs of ancient gods and unleashing things upon the world seem to be a commonly held belief. We've come across it in South America, in Egypt, here. There are clearly some strongly held and deep-rooted beliefs that span the globe, and well, Sir Edward and I share a deep concern as to whether there may be a little more to this than simply primitive ancient beliefs.
He nods thoughtfully and says, yes, indeed. There are many cults across many civilizations who have such beliefs.
Have you ever experienced anything that goes beyond mere faith?
That is a difficult question to answer.
Indeed.
There are cults here in Shanghai that would believe these words to be more than just flowers. They would indeed be truths or doctrines, a prophecy of sorts. Do you know of any cults here in Shanghai that may have brought you here?
Well, there is one, but we have found it very difficult to find any writings on the subject. It's almost as if every time we get close, we find the page is empty, or the page is no longer there.
Indeed. He leans into you. Who would that be?
I'll lean back and say, the bloated woman.
He sits back and puts his fingers together. Bloated woman. Yes. They serve a dark goddess. This script is a prophecy of sorts and is connected to that group. They believe she is one form of a very old, very primal deity worshipped in different guises around the world. A deity that wears many masks. The order still exists. He looks over both his shoulders. In fact, it has grown quite influential in recent years. What do you say of that?
This is what we are finding out now, as well as organised groups, or a particular group claiming to be part of this cult. We believe that the cult actually does exist in truth.
Why are you interested, aside from your professional involvement, Mr. Lockhart? You seem interested. You mentioned that you have travelled great distances.
I'll be direct with you, Mr. Moo. I was going to say we believe, but perhaps that would be a misstep. We know that these beliefs are real, and we've crossed swords with the cult in various locations around the world, or the cults.
You see him swallow hard when you say that. He's
My
thinking.
friends and I have paid heavily for our involvement, but these are deaths that are not meaningless. These are deaths that have hopefully staved off a great terror from the world, and we continue to fight against them.
Just the two of you?
There are more. We have friends across the world. These cults are deadly. Mr. Lockhart here has lost friends, and I have lost both my sons, these forces.
I'm sorry to hear that. There are many here who have lost friends, family also. Much of what the cult does here goes unnoticed. These are unsettled times, and when people disappear or are killed, it is too easy for the truth to be lost.
I would agree.
One thing the Order is known for is a particular way they treat their victims. They remove the arms. It is symbolic to them. They believe it allows the victim to die in a way that would please their goddess, bleeding to death.
We have seen this only a few days ago.
The Order is preparing something large. They speak of bringing their goddess into this world. The first step, according to their beliefs, involves harming the sky itself through poison or rupture or some other disruption, and I think they intend to attempt this soon. When exactly, I don't know, but soon, I am sure.
So harming the sky, for example, creating or making a volcano erupt?
Do not know. The servants shall unleash a great fire upon the heavens, ripping the sky asunder. That is why I needed to know where you found the script.
It was on a map that one of my colleagues found. I'll look at Jacob. In a warehouse?
Yes.
Warehouse. He looks at you expectantly looks across from one to the other. Then his gaze falls heavily upon Sir Edward. The warehouse?
We believe they are moving items and possibly people to a location south of here.
Yes, you know much.
And Mr. Moo, you are, as indeed a respected scholar, are there others like you in Shanghai
What do you mean?
that know the true nature of these cults and what humanity stands to lose should they succeed?
I cannot speak for others and what others know. All I can say is I have not shared my knowledge of this with anyone else, nor have I been asked about it by anyone else. It is not wise to speak of such things. I have probably said too much, but he looks at Jake. You have such a disarming way about you.
You have not spoken to the wrong people.
He leans in again and says, "The Order believes their plans cannot be stopped. But that is not entirely true. There are older traditions, older knowledge, ways of countering what they intend. Nothing simple and nothing that can be used without understanding the risks, but such things do exist."
And that is what we're looking for.
It looks like he's going to go on, and then he suddenly glances towards the door. Cannot say any more at this time. I've probably said too much already. For now, it is enough to know that the Order's plans are not inevitable. He gets up.
We would certainly like to meet you again.
I hope that our paths will cross again in the future. Thank you for being so honest with me. He bows.
Okay. If you would wait here one moment, I would just like to speak to one of my colleagues outside.
I cannot wait. I am sorry. I must go.
Okay. I understand.
He scuttles off out of the door and into the throng outside. Bert and Lucky, you see, actually. Well, you will have seen. You would have. Can you make a spot roll? See whether you can actually see the conversation inside there. Anybody pass?
Yes, normal success.
Normal success for me as well.
Okay, yeah. So you both have during the conversation, you have managed to pinpoint them through the window and see them seated in a corner of in a sort of shadowy corner of the cafe. So you do then track what you assume to be Mr. Moo coming out. You see from the body language that everything seems to be cordial. In fact, as he stands in the cafe, he bows and there's handshakes, and then he leaves. And you see him emerge in the doorway in front of you, and then scuttle off at the street.
So, Jacob and Sir Edward will leave after him.
No, okay. Give it a minute or two first. Let him disappear before we head off. Okay. If we're being watched, they may not know who we were meeting, if we were meeting anyone. Well, I know I was extremely open with the chap, but sometimes you just have that feeling.
You're outside now, all four of you together?
Yeah, we'll get up and leave and join the others. It's time to head back, and I think this is a discussion for indoors.
Can you... You going to get a taxi back then?
Yep. Taxis.
Can you all roll percentile for me, please?
56 for Sir Edward.
66, Jacob.
Okay.
12 for Briggsy.
How many?
12.
12, okay, yeah. What did Lucky get?
Hasn't rolled yet.
Sorry, 34.
Oh, yeah. Back to the first.
Yeah, I was on mute.
Okay, how are you? What are you doing? You just grabbing a taxi and going straight back?
No. We've got to do the two taxis somewhere else off, off to the showground.
Okay, Bert, you take a taxi with Lucky to the first destination. You get out and you jump into the second one. And as you get into the second one, you look in the you kind of look in the mirror or look back behind you, and you recognise same two men that jumped into a taxi directly behind you the first time. You didn't. You kind of clocked them, but that you didn't think of that as being unusual. But they followed you, and then they jumped out, and then they get into another one here.
I will tell Lucky, and then ask our taxi driver to take us to a different location, not the hotel. I'll ask him to take us to The American Embassy, because I've been there.
Okay, go to the American consulate that's fine. Okay.
I'll explain to Lucky what we're doing and get out and just stand outside the American consulate for a little bit and see if I can spot them having followed us and not the other two.
Okay, you pull up outside the American consulate, which is a very busy area back in the international settlement now, and you see the car that was following you slow down behind you, and when you get outside the American consulate, it kind of speeds up again and then drives by, and then pulls up just up further up the road, the taxi, and then you see two men get out, but they're a little bit too far off to see really any detail of them. And obviously, there's quite a lot of people around as well. But once they get out, you see them standing on the just a bit further up the road.
Is there a bar or coffee shop or something nearby? Doesn't actually need to be near, does it?
No.
We can take a walk and see if they follow us.
Okay, you're gonna do that. Head back inland, are you?
Yeah, head back inland
away from the river.
Yeah. So we find a bar. Just to watch them follow us.
Okay. Are you trying to lose them?
Not yet.
No. Okay.
No.
I'm just being guided by Bert at this point.
Yeah.
Right, Bert, can you make a spot roll?
Hard success.
Yeah. Yeah, there were the two men that got out of the taxi. They are kind of moving. You can see them moving behind you through the crowd. It looks like they're trying to stay out of sight, but your keen eyes spot them now and again popping out of the crowd and out of alleyways as they kind of navigate the throng. When you turn to go inland, they kind of, as you turn one end of an alley, they're just coming into it at the other end. The street, sorry. But they're still keeping. They're probably about 50 yards behind you.
Let's go have a drink and just see how much patience they've got.
Okay. Have we managed to get a good look at them yet? Are they local?
No.
Okay.
You can't really see them; they're too far away. Bert did see that they are. Yeah, they are Chinese looking. They are Chinese gentlemen. Two of them.
Yeah.
That's as much as you could see, really. They're wearing Western kind of suits, but not particularly expensive. They look quite beat up, ill-fitting kind of impression.
They're all over us like a cheap seat.
Yeah. Did I think they were the same guys as before?
No, they're not the same ones as before. Are you going to? What, are you just deliberately letting them see you still, or are you going to try and duck into a situation?
No ducking out yet.
Okay.
So deliberately let them see us go into a bar.
Okay.
You make it obvious that
we're just pretending that,
or
we're
just
pretending that we're
to fly casual.
Yeah, pretending that we're not aware of them.
Yeah.
See if we can lure them closer, so we can get a better look at them.
You duck into the bar.
Yeah, exactly what I was thinking.
You duck into the bar, and you wait. Are you going into a coffee shop that's got a window that you can look out of?
A bar or a coffee shop. A bar would be better, or somewhere where there's a serving counter.
Okay. Yeah, you duck in. You find there's loads of bars around here.
Yeah, go up to the bar and see if they speak English.
Which they do, because it's the international settlement. And it's actually. Yeah.
I'll just go. You have a back exit that I could use.
Yeah.
And with $5 bill on it.
Okay. He quickly you give him a $5 silver pieces, and he just kind of almost falls over himself in his efforts to help you through to the back door, the back exit.
Okay. Come on, Lucky, we're legging it.
Away we go.
Okay. You disappear through the back exit and out.
And then just hightail it through a couple of streets. And then stop and scour to make sure I'm not being followed. And then taxi to the hotel.
Okay, after the couple of streets, you stop. Both of you looking around for a good few minutes. You can't see any evidence that anybody is now on your tail. And you grab a taxi and head back.
Nice one, Bert. Well spotted.
Okay.
Just really pleased they followed us and not the others, because I don't think the others saw them.
Wow. Slightly different backgrounds.
Yeah.
You arrive back.
We shared a taxi with them.
Yeah, those two are following you. It was actually the taxi driver of the other one that was the cultist. Okay, you get back to the hotel about half an hour, no, almost an hour later than all other two. Of course, you have a nervous wait when Lucky and Bert don't come back.
Mm-hmm.
But this is you're beginning to really start to worry. You hear the creak of the floorboards outside on the hotel, on the landing as they approach the door, and you are reunited in the hotel at about 4:30. No, 4:00.
So
Just
Lou,
I'll explain to the others what happened and how we got away.
you decided to stop off in a bar for a drink. Perfectly understandable. Well done there. Worrying times. Do you think they followed us from the hotel originally, or we're just hanging about in the old city?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
Well, easy way
I
to
saw
find
them when
out.
I saw them, but
Yeah, if they followed us from the hotel, then they'll be outside again at some point, won't they?
Mm.
Yeah.
So we have to have a look out the window and see if we can spot anybody loitering. But none of us spotted someone initially. Doesn't mean they weren't there. Just means we could have got lazy.
You said before, Lucky, we need to be lucky all the time. They need to be lucky once, don't they, in terms of finding us.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Moo then found a kindred spirit.
He knows much of ancient cults.
Did we
Darren, do you have that?
Did we learn anything new other than it just validated
Yes.
what our theory was about what they were doing at Grey Dragon Island?
Well, we have the translation here. And Darren, can you read it out again so I can write it down?
Yeah, you've already got it.
Oh, wait, it's in the notes, is it?
You've got it already, Sir Edward.
Ah, I had it in a book, did I?
Yeah, you remember that it's
I thought it was familiar.
it's the same. It's one of the passages that you read out previously from the Book of Xian, which if you look at the messages on your chat, it's on the 5th of Feb.
And what language was that tome written in?
That's in English. Well, Old English.
Beneath the dormant mount, the servants shall unleash a great fire upon the heavens, ripping the sky asunder. Their frenzied, blasphemous orgies will call forth the ravenous old ones to feed freely on this cursed plain. And how so?
It's just that, yeah.
Okay, Shanghai. Yeah, because we identified all the passages. The first one was Egypt. The second one we think is Kenya. The third one we think is Australia. The fourth one, Shanghai. And then one which was unknown, which we couldn't figure out, which was with the blood of an innocent and the will of the brave. The priest stood high above the land, chanting over the great stone. The red pupil blazed bright as they secured the dark place once more. Now spent, they gathered their dead and descended slowly into the dawn. We don't know what that refers to. That's the only one that we don't have a location tied to now.
We do need to meet Mr. Moo again.
That was the frustrating thing. He hinted at, what was it, older traditions to counter.
Yes,
cults.
there were ways to stop them.
Oh, so you think he might have...
We need access to that power.
Either they be relics or magic.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, in which case we should probably have a full information share with him about everything.
Yes, indeed. Bert, do you still have one of those wooden stars with you? I know you wear Howard's now.
Wooden star, yes, that's yes.
I have a mind to give it to Mr. Moo as a way of thanks.
Yeah, if you think that's a good idea, I don't have any problem with that. I'll give Sir Edward the wooden star.
Thank you.
I was a bit puzzled that he left. Well, we parted on good terms, but he left a little abruptly. I'm not sure I can quite put my finger on why. He didn't seem to become upset with us, or
maybe he spotted did he glance out of the window or something? Did he spot maybe that we were being followed or that he was being followed?
He could have clocked it before we clocked it.
Yeah.
It's a good shout, Lucky.
Possibly something. Something I can't quite put my finger on seemed to spook him. I think to answer your initial question, Lucky, it just really reinforced what we know already, other than the somewhat cryptic hint at the end about the older traditions.
Well, that in and of itself, if what you're guessing is correct, would be incredibly valuable. I don't think that we are capable of assaulting an island full of cultists, summoning creatures, despite the powers that Sir Edward is learning to wield.
No, that will not be enough. In the same way that I was saved back in my home, I think we need to bring forth old magic.
Well, something that will put a creature back in its bottle, dismiss it.
Yeah, to close those openings.
Well, one, ideally prevent them from opening anything in the first place, for which we can use firearms to kill cultists, ideally, although they may well have protections that both you and I are able to bring forth to protect their physical bodies. But once they have brought something forth, it means to send them back, because as we've identified, they appear to be very resistant to our weapons. So how do we meet with him again? How do we contact him? Did you get his home address, a means to contact him, or?
No, I think it will have to be through the museum again.
Well, that would seem to be a priority if we could.
Okay.
No. Okay.
Any more plans for the evening?
Other than doing a quick out the hotel and around Recce to see whether anybody's watching the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
What time is it now?
When you got back to the hotel, it was about 4:30.
Do you maybe want to head over to the warehouse and see whether we can catch a look at Ho Fang?
It's a punt, but it's worth a try.
Yeah.
We're going to need a taxi to follow him, though, because I doubt he'll be walking. So we'll have to pay somebody to inconspicuously follow that car. How busy is it? Do you think it gets down that part of?
Oh yeah, it's going to be really busy. Yeah, it's the busiest part of the city, the Bund, and that area on the Wangpu. So it will be at that time. It will be very busy.
Right. Okay. Well, let's try that then. That'll be. We might as well, while we've got the spare time, see if we can generate an additional lead.
So your plan is to get a taxi down to Ho Fang's warehouse and wait outside, is it?
I think we should do two, and then if we lose, we don't do a procession as such.
Mm-hmm.
But if they lose one taxi, there's another one following up, and also it keeps us separate. What does everyone else think, or is that overkill?
No, let's just go for that.
Okay.
Right, so you're taking two taxis from where you are to that area, and then what? And then you're just waiting in the taxi for him to come out. Well, to hope that he's going to come out.
We'll ask. Should we ask them to park round the corner, and then as soon as he comes out, we'll get them to rush back to the taxis.
Just keep one taxi.
Okay.
Just keep one taxi. Okay.
Yeah. Just thinking about poor old Sir Edward's wallet.
Yeah, and then we'll just sit in there, just on the corner.
Okay, you say you call the taxi driver. Can everybody make a luck roll, please?
Oh, we got one of those cultist taxi drivers.
Jacob succeeds.
I succeed.
Ordinary?
Yes.
Sir Edward succeeds.
Can you get extreme? Are there variations on?
You can't. Yeah, I just don't know what percentage.
47. Yes.
Did you all succeed? Did you all succeed?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. You all succeeded. Okay. The first taxi that pulls up next to the outside of the Palace Hotel. You say you want to go to Ho Fang's warehouse, I presume.
To name the street.
You're just going to name the street.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's fine. You drive to the street that Ho Fang's warehouse is on. Both taxis. It takes a wee while to get there because it is, as we mentioned, it is pretty busy at this time of day through the traffic. And what, you're just asking them to pull up outside and wait?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But not right outside the warehouse.
No.
Further along the street. No, we're just going to ask one of them to wait.
Yeah.
So you both get dropped off. Well, so one of you gets dropped off and lets the driver go off, and then what happens with the other two? You go and join the others then, or?
Yeah, whoever arrives first, let that driver go, and then the second driver will ask to wait.
What I should do is park and everyone sit in the taxi round the corner. 3. One person stands on the corner and watches, and then as soon as he leaves, nips back to the hidden taxi, gets in, and then we follow.
Is that what you're going to do?
Because if we, all 4 of us sat in a taxi watching, is really obvious.
And plus, we're more likely to be able to see what's going on outside the taxi than just one. Yeah.
Okay, so run that plan by me again.
3 of us stay in the taxi, sort of, a little bit away from the warehouse, and then one of us
not within sight of the warehouse. Well, down
no,
the road
not within sight of the warehouse. So if there's a corner,
okay, yeah,
just round the corner out of sight.
Yeah,
one of us will get out, stand on the corner, and surreptitiously watch the warehouse.
Okay.
And then the minute we spot who we think is Ho Fang, that person nips back to the taxi, gets the taxi driving round the corner, and we'll be able to point to the taxi driver with the car that he's supposed to be following.
What? Who's going to be the watcher?
Who's the best at what? Yeah, there you go. Bert.
Who's the best at what? Being Bert.
Yeah, who's the best at being Bert?
Okay.
Be more Bert.
Yeah. More qualified to be Bert than anyone else.
Okay, Bert. You stand on the corner by Ho Fang's import-export business, and you can see a lot of the workers coming out of the warehouse, leaving around this time in a steady stream. Till it gets to about 6:15, where at this point, although the area is still pretty busy, a lot of the warehouses and other businesses around the area have shut up for the evening, and there is no longer anybody coming out of either the side warehouse doors, or some of the staff came out the front doors, which lead onto the street down to the Wangpu River. You're happy hanging around there for another few minutes when suddenly you see a large black Rolls Royce driving up the road from the Wangpu, and it pulls out. It stops outside the front of the warehouse, the front of the office actually, and you see two men get out, and both of them they're suited. They are Chinese, but they're very big and wide. They get out, they go to the door, and they go into the business. And then, are you going to wait there, I presume? About a couple of minutes later, they come back out, flanking another gentleman. Make a spot roll.
Success.
Okay. Just an ordinary success.
Ordinary success, yeah.
Okay. Okay, you see a short, rotund Chinese man wearing a baggy white linen suit, and he seems to be smoking some sort of dark cigarette. You see him as he walks between the two, drivers, bouncers, minders, whatever you want to call them. And then one of them opens the door for him, and he slides. He kind of slides is probably the wrong way. He struggles into the back of the car, and then both drivers get in the front and drive off. I presume you're going to do your thing.
Nip back to the taxi and tell them what's what.
Okay. So you ask the taxi driver just to speak. He turns the engine on and is away, and up to the end of the road, turns right to follow the car, and it's not difficult. You can see the black rolls ahead of you, and away you go. The car. You giving instructions for the driver just to follow him closely, or what's going to be the process?
At a distance, we say tell him that he'll get paid extra if we're not spotted.
Okay, right. The car winds away from the international settlement, across the Su Chao River, which is the smaller one, over the bridge, and then south towards the old city, with you in pursuit. And we will leave it there, see what happens next time.
And that's a wrap for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you're enjoying our adventures in Shanghai, and we'll see you next week on Steady Rolling Man Presents The Masks of Nyarlathotep.